It all started on a rainy Tuesday in the fall of 2023, the kind of day where the sky hangs low like a heavy blanket, smothering the city in gray. I was Alex Thompson, a 28-year-old software engineer grinding away at a dead-end job in Seattle, chasing deadlines that never seemed to end while my dreams gathered dust on the shelf. Life felt like a treadmill, fast-paced but going nowhere. My apartment was a mess of takeout boxes and unfinished code scripts, and my relationships, let's just say my last date ended with me ghosting her because I couldn't muster the energy to pretend I had it all together. That morning, I woke up to the blare of my alarm, my head pounding from another late-night binge on energy drinks and Netflix. I dragged myself to the bathroom, splashed water on my face, and stared at the mirror, wondering when the guy looking back had become such a stranger. Little did I know, that mirror or something like Ida would soon become the portal to the most terrifying and transformative day of my life. As I headed to work, dodging puddles on the slick sidewalks, my phone buzzed with a text from my best friend, Jamie. "Dude, you gotta check out this weird estate sale downtown. Old inventors stuff looks like sci-fi junk, could be fun." Jamie was always the adventurous one, pulling me out of my rut with his wild ideas. I figured why not, anything to break the monotony. So after clocking out early, claiming a migraine, I met him at this crumbling Victorian house on the edge of the city, its windows boarded up like eyes shut tight against the world. The air inside smelled of mothballs and rust, and the place was packed with eccentric bidders eyeing antique gadgets and yellowed blueprints. Jamie nudged me toward a dusty corner where a peculiar item caught my eye, an ornate full-length mirror framed in tarnished brass, engraved with swirling symbols that looked like a mix of ancient runes and circuit diagrams. The seller, an elderly woman with sharp eyes, whispered that it belonged to her late husband, a reclusive physicist obsessed with quantum theories. He called it the Echo Glass, she said, her voice trembling. Claimed it showed echoes of what could be. I laughed it off, but something about it pulled at me like a whisper in the back of my mind. I bid impulsively, winning it for a steal at $200, and hauled it back to my apartment, propping it against the wall in my bedroom. That night, as thunder rumbled outside, I couldn't sleep. The mirror seemed to glow faintly in the dim light from my laptop. Curiosity got the better of me. I stood before it, tracing the engravings with my fingers. A strange hum filled the room, like electricity buzzing through wires. The glass rippled, not like water, but like reality bending. And then, there he was, me, but not me. Older, maybe in his late 40s, with gray streaks in his hair, wrinkles etched deep from years of regret. His eyes locked onto mine, wide with urgency. "Alex," he said, his voice muffled at first, then clear as day. "You have to listen. This isn't a dream. I'm you, from 2043. The path you're on. It leads to ruin." My heart slammed against my ribs. I stumbled back, knocking over a lamp, plunging the room into shadows except for the mirror's eerie light. Was I hallucinating? Had I finally cracked under the stress? But no, he was there, gesturing frantically. "Prove it," I stammered, my voice shaking. "Tell me something only I would know." He smiled sadly. "Remember the summer of 15, when you buried that time capsule under the oak tree in your parents' backyard? Inside was a letter to your future self, promising you to become an astronaut. You dug it up last year, alone, and cried because life had other plans." My knees buckled. That was Rella. No one knew about that, not even Jamie. This was impossible, yet here it was. My future self leaned closer, the glass fogging as if from his breath. "I've come back through this anomaly, the Echo Glass. It's a rift in time, unstable, but let me warn you, your biggest mistake starts tomorrow. You're about to quit your job, chase that startup idea with Sarah." Sarah, my ex-colleague, the one I'd been crushing on for months. We talked about launching an app together, something revolutionary in AI ethics. "But how could that be a mistake? It sounds perfect," I protested. "Freedom, passion." He cut me off. "It destroys you. The app fails, debts pile up, you push everyone away, including mom and dad, and Sarah. She leaves you broken." Tears welled in his eyes at my eyes. The emotion hit me like a wave. This wasn't just a warning, it was a confession of a life unlived. As we talked through the night, He painted a picture of the future, a world where climate disasters had reshaped coasts. I governed daily life, but personally, isolation, no family, no joy, just echoes of what could have been. He told me about the small choices that snowballed, the skipped family dinners, the ignored health warnings, the pride that kept me from asking for help. By dawn, I was sobbing, the weight of potential regret crushing me. But hope flickered too. He said changing one key decision could rewrite it all. Stay at the job a little longer, he urged. Build stability first, and call mom tonight to tell her you love her. As the connection faded with the rising sun, his final words lingered. Don't become me. I sat there, staring at the now normal mirror, my mind reeling. Had it really happened? I touched the glass. Cold, ordinary, but the engraving pulsed faintly under my fingers, a reminder. That day, I didn't quit. Instead, I called Sarah for coffee, not to pitch the startup, but to talk honestly about fears and dreams. And Mom, her voice on the phone, surprised and warm, made me realize how much I'd neglected the present for a hazy future. Yet, doubts crept in. Was this a gift or a curse? As weeks turned to months, I found myself returning to the mirror, hoping for another glimpse, but it remained silent. Life improved. I got a promotion, reconnected with friends, even started therapy to unpack the emotional baggage. But deep down, a part of me yearned for confirmation that I'd altered the timeline. Then, one stormy evening, the hum returned. The glass rippled again, and there he was, me, but different this time. Less haunted, a spark in his eyes. You did it, he said, grinning. The app launched successfully because you waited. Sarah's your wife now, and we have kid on the way. Joy flooded me, but confusion too. How are you here if things changed? He shrugged. Time's not linear. Echoes persist, but this version of me is happier. Keep going, Alex. The encounters became sporadic, each one emotional checkpoint, revealing branches of possibility. One night, he appeared weary again, warning of a new pitfall, overworking to the point of burnout. Balance, he stressed, or you'll lose Sarah anyway. These confessions tore at my heart, forcing me to confront my flaws and my stubbornness, my fear of vulnerability. I began journaling, turning the experiences into a private diary of time's whispers. Friends noticed the change. Jamie joked I seemed enlightened, but the emotional core was the bond with my future self, a mirror of regrets and redemptions that made me feel profoundly connected to my own humanity. As the chapter of warnings unfolded, I realized time travel wasn't about gadgets or physics. It was about the heart's journey through choices. And with each visit, the tears we shared, his from lived pain, mine from averted sorrow, a woven unbreakable thread of empathy across the years. By the end of that first year, I'd transformed, healthier, happier, engaged to Sarah. Yet, the mirror's power loomed, a double-edged sword promising insight at the cost of constant self-scrutiny. Little did I know, the real test was coming, a choice that would challenge everything I learned. The second phase began innocently enough. On a crisp spring morning in 2024, as cherry blossoms dusted Seattle's streets like pink snow, I'd grown accustomed to the Echo Glass's whims, treating it like a wise, if erratic, mentor. Sarah and I were thriving. Our startup idea had evolved into a side project, funded steadily by my stable job. We'd moved in together, her laughter filling the apartment that once echoed with solitude. But the future self's visits had tapered off, leaving me with a nagging void. Had I fixed everything, or was silence a sign of complacency? One evening, after a romantic dinner where I proposed a ring hidden in a dessert, her yes lighting up the room and the mirror activated unbidden. There he was, older me, but this time with a beard streaked white, eyes heavy with unspoken grief. Congratulations, he said flatly, no joy in his tone. But it's not enough. There's a storm coming, a one you can't see yet. My stomach knotted. What now? We're happy, engaged, building a future. He shook his head. Happiness is fragile. In my timeline, the pandemic variant hits hard in 25. You lose your job, Sarah gets sick, you turn to isolation again. The words landed like punches. A new pandemic. It sounded dystopian, but his details were chilling. Global lockdowns, economic collapse, personal losses. Dad dies alone in the hospital. he choked out. "You regret not visiting more." Tears streamed down my face. Dad had been distant since Mom passed years ago, but the thought of him fading without reconciliation gutted me. This confession delved deeper, unraveling layers of family wounds I'd buried. Older me shared stories of our shared past childhood arguments, unspoken affections that mirrored my own suppressed emotions. "Heal it now," he implored. "Fly home tomorrow. Tell him everything." I booked the ticket that night, heart pounding with a mix of dread and resolve. The flight was turbulent, mirroring my inner storm. Landing in my hometown, the familiar streets felt alien, charged with potential. Dad opened the door, surprise etching his weathered face. We talked for hours, awkward at first, then raw. I confessed my fears, my regrets. He shared his own, about pushing me away after Mom's death. By night's end, we hugged, tears mingling, forging a bond stronger than before. Back home, Sarah held me as I recounted the mirror's warning. She was skeptical at first. To time travel, really? But my conviction swayed her. We prepared, stocked supplies, strengthened our relationship with date nights and honest talks. The mirror's visits intensified, each one an emotional torrent. One night, he appeared joyful, recounting a timeline where we adopted a child, built a legacy, and for good. "This is possible if you prioritize love over ambition." But another visit brought despair, a version where betrayal shattered us, me cheating in a moment of weakness. "Don't let stress win," he warned, voice breaking. These alternates forced me to confront my shadows, a jealousy, insecurity that threatened our bliss. Therapy deepened, Sarah joining sessions, turning our love into a fortress. As 2025 dawned, the predicted variant emerged, headlines blaring warnings. We navigated lockdowns together, my job shifting remote, Sarah's health monitored closely. Dad visited virtually daily, our mended ties a lifeline. The mirror showed fractured futures averted, one where isolation led to divorce, another to addiction. Each confession peeled back emotional layers, revealing how time's threads wove through hearts. I began recording the encounters secretly, a digital diary of temporal therapy. Friends like Jamie joined the circle, witnessing a session that left them awestruck. "This changes everything," he said. But the climax came on a fateful night, the anniversary of the first contact. The glass hummed louder than ever, pulling me in. Older me appeared, but multiplied as shadowy versions flickering like holograms. "You've created branches," the central one said. "Some good, some dire. The rift is unstable now at too many changes." Panic surged. Had I meddled too much? He confessed it all. In his prime timeline, the constant warnings had eroded his sanity, leading to a lonely end. "But you've given me USA hope." As the glass cracked, energy surging, he reached out virtually. "Live fully, Alex. No more echoes." The mirror shattered in a burst of light, shards scattering like fallen stars. I collapsed, overwhelmed by loss of the end of guidance, but birth of independence. In the aftermath, life bloomed. Sarah and I married in a small ceremony, Dad walking her down the aisle. Our app launched, aiding mental health in a post-pandemic world. Emotions once bottled now flowed freely, at joy in sunsets, sorrow in memories, love in every glance. Years passed by. 2030, we had a daughter, her laughter echoing the happiness I'd fought for. Yet, on quiet nights, I'd stare at the wall where the mirror once stood, wondering if echoes lingered. The experience taught me that time travel isn't about changing the past or future, it's about embracing the now, with all its raw, beating heart. And in that, I found redemption, not from a future self, but from within. Phew. If that emotional roller coaster left you breathless and reflective, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more heart-wrenching tales that make you question reality. Your next favorite story is just a click.